the single nomads. That's right. Traveling along alone. Are they alone? Are they lonely? What's the deal? Let's discuss. Good morning, blind viewers. How's everybody doing today? That's right. The RVers, the nomads, the single ones, the ones that'll travel around by themselves. Are they lonely or just merely alone? This is one of those, just another one of those little things that I think about once in a while. I watch some of these channels and I just have to wonder. And I do have my opinions. And I guess the opinions vary depending on the person. Now, some folks, I believe, like to be alone. The solitary person that on occasion, when they get the opportunity, they'll meet up with some friends and hang out for a while. But, yeah, that doesn't seem to last long. Nomadic fanatic comes to mind. Even when he does find a partner, shall we say, a lady friend or whatever, something like that, it usually doesn't last very long. Now, I know some people have their opinions and they want to say stupid shit and it's because of this, because of that, but I think it's just because it's someone who is better by themselves, alone, if you may, and even though would like some companionship in that way, it just doesn't work because he's pretty much a loner, likes to be by himself, and then you add on that small confined space deal, you know. Yeah, you have the outside, the outdoors to get away, but when you're stuck inside, say it's raining or whatever, it doesn't bode well for those who like to be single and alone. Then you have people that I think like people, enjoy people, but they also like to be alone. And I think some of these folks make the best YouTubers. Example, Chrome from Van City Van Life. Now he's out there running around in his little van, him and his dog, and he's alone. But I don't think he's lonely because I think YouTube, the YouTube world, the people that are out there that he talks to in the camera, I actually think that he speaks and acts as if they are there and he is talking to you, them, us, the crowd, which makes it seem a little bit less lonely. And I think that makes for one, a little bit saner person that's out there by himself in the back country, as he says, with just him and his dog, and it makes for a better YouTuber because he has that. It seems like he's having that one-on-one with you. He's talking to you, hey, you guys, and he shows you things, and he's talking just like you're there. And so I think that does the twofold thing. Again, it makes him a better YouTuber, and it keeps him a little bit sane, and so he isn't so lonely and more just alone. Then you have the other ones that are single and traveling alone, but they're never alone, hardly ever. They're always in a group, a pack, a tribe, you know, those folks. So basically all they do is sleep alone. You know, they get up in the morning and they come out and there's people making breakfast, and so it's that big poof. They're in the old wagon circle, circle of the wagons. So they're hardly ever alone. And then you have the folks like Eric, who even when he does go to these big things, I know, because he even says it, and I've witnessed it a couple times through his videos. Like if he's at the RTR or whatever, he will actually take off and get away from it all, because he can't he can't sit there the whole time and deal with everyone the entire time for this. And I know at Lollapalooza, everybody was kind of spread out enough that everybody wasn't all up on top, and there wasn't the constant barrage of people. But yeah, it's interesting to me. And then you have the ladies, the females, if you will, that are out there traveling alone. Now, I don't want to sound like the big macho man and sexist or anything, but to me, it would be different for a guy and a female. I know, for instance, if I, as a father, if I had a son that was out there roaming around in a van or an RV by himself, and I had a daughter doing the same thing, I would be worried sick about my daughter. I'm worried about the son too, but not as much as the daughter. Because we all have that in our mind that guys are going to creep up on them and try to do dumb shit, say dumb stuff, We have that in our mind that a guy can take care of himself better and easier than a female. So yeah, it's always that thing in your mind. And we were talking about Morgan the other day in here, and someone brought up that fact that she always lets everybody know where she is, and all these guys are constantly coming to fix her door and hand her a water pump and do this and do that, and even they said that they worry about her sometimes, that she's going to get in some sticky situations. So sometimes being alone, it's more than just being lonely, it's being safe as well, trying to be safe. And yeah, we have the myriad of channels that make the videos about, if you're a single female, this is what you do. Go get a tape recorder that has dog barkings, or leave a leash and a collar tied to your door handle, like you let your dog out. Put a pair of men's boots outside your door, and always put 2 chairs out, and this and that, and all kinds of stuff. Just little things, and then how to protect, mace and other things, and bear spray and wasp spray, and the other things that people remind the females to do, give them little tips of how to look like you're not alone and how to protect yourself with stuff. But I find it an interesting topic of conversation, or just thought by yourself. Because I often think of friends of mine who've lost their spouse, let's say. And even in house, some folks say, it was bad enough when the kids left. We didn't need this big old house. And now that the spouse, the other one, passed, the widow or widower says, well, I really don't need this big house now. So they start thinking about downsizing maybe. But they start to be on their own and a little bit lonely due to circumstance beyond their control. So I always wondered, what it's like for some of these single folks that are out there traveling around alone, that are out there alone by choice, how much the lonely factor does play into it. I find it interesting. I don't know. It's just one of those things that I often wonder. Things that make you go, you know? Now, yeah, I mean, you could be in a relationship and live in a big old house or even a decent size, menial size house and have a spouse. Maybe you don't get along that much anymore. So you could actually be in a space with other people and still be lonely, I guess. So one would think that just because you are alone wouldn't make you any more lonely, just as if you were sitting in a group and being totally ignored and not engaging in conversation. You could also be in your own head and be lonely sitting in a group. So I guess just like everything else, it takes all kinds of people. There's all kinds of different people. And I guess if you are lonely, I guess in a community the size that it has become and is still growing, one would think that you could find someone to hang out with, sit with and chat for a day or two. Some group to latch on to, some tribe to join, some little caravan or wagon train to hitch your little wagon to and travel with if you were that lonely. And then when the time came where it was all just a little bit too busy and too noisy and too full of chatter and opinions and time schedules that you didn't want to follow, I guess you could unhitch your wagon and head on off in another different direction. Spend some time alone again. And then maybe find another group or tribe to join up with. So please, if you don't mind, leave me a comment. What's your opinion about the solo nomads? Do you think they're lonely or just alone? I really am interested in what you have to think. You just heard my opinion, and there's blind views, and that's the way I see it. Now, let's go over and talk to the folks. Good morning, everyone. Let's see if we got Ox, Yo-Yo Max, my homie Romy, the old stoner, Marilyn Monroe, Fatima. I seen Butterbean in here too. So good morning, everyone. Anyone I didn't see yet, good morning, good morning. Did see you in my stream until after the show. I suck at paying attention in the chat when I'm live. Well, yeah, I guess, done it. When you're painting and doing stuff, that's that one time I did that painting live. I head down, painting, paying attention. Yeah. Yeah, the chat kind of goes by the wayside. You don't have really a whole lot to deal with it. I understand. Not a problem, man. Let's see what we got here. Good morning, all. Ox says, I think most of them do it by choice. Three Dog Night said it. One is the loneliest number. There you go. Dagnabbit, it's time I was editing a video and no notifications interrupted me. Creativity RV Robin lives alone in her RV, but the last I knew, she was still in a relationship with a gentleman who has a non-traveling job. Ah, that's right. Good example. She is one that is in a relationship. I often do hear her talk about her gentleman friend. That's true. The Blind Guy Show. Good morning. Some people choose the lone wolf thing. They're probably both alone and lonely. It's choice. Very good take on it. Very good. Very good. BV, I've been single so long, I think I've gone feral. Says my homie Romy. That's funny. Ox says, I got a notice that woke me up. Damn. It's a new day. That's right. It's a fresh new day. It's bright and early in the morning. I just woke up a little bit ago, got my coffee, and figured, hey, let me get on real quick. And yes, I know I'll be on tonight, babbling again. But yeah, I figured I'd get on here real quick, do a little quick one this morning. RV Quilt Quest. Good morning. Good morning. Fatima says, I think it is a give and take between being lonely and being alone. Some couples are together, yet travel in separate RV vans. Yeah, that's another good point. That is true. There are folks that do that. Paul Barger, the bread trucker, and Ellie come to mind. As a matter of fact, she has her own little van, little vehicle that she travels in. She drives, and Paul drives the bread truck, and they get someplace and camp, and then they hang out together, sleep together, live together, eat together, and do all that. But yeah, they do travel in two different vehicles. There are others that do that also. So yeah, good point there. Good morning, Kathleen. I have one here and one on RFA at CPAC. Margie, good morning. RV Ashes. I agree, it's early. Yeah, I guess if you're over on the other coast, I guess it is real nice and early, isn't it? As King says, I'm good with me. I find enjoyment and love being alive. There you go. Some people, it doesn't matter. As long as they're waking up in the morning, 2 feet are on the ground and they're upright, that's all that matters. Marilyn Murray says, yes, that's right. Venture Van Man and Kelly have 2 vehicles. That's true. Blue Van Dan, ask any of my nomad friends where you can find me. There you go. I don't think Dan's ever alone, is he? Excuse me. I said that wrong. I don't think Dan's ever lonely. He may be by himself for a little while, but I don't think he's lonely. I think he's always got somebody close by. You already know I lost my hubby, but I will be on the road soon. Will I be lonely? I do think so, but that will not stop me. There you go. And I spoke on that a little bit too. I mean, you don't have to be on the road to be alone and lonely. People lose their spouses, and like I said, and some people that didn't lose their spouse, just the thrill's gone or whatever, for whatever reason. You could be sitting in a room with your spouse and still be lonely. So, yeah. True, Dan, I'm not ever out there. I'm not even out there. And no, you left out TV. Yeah, right. Good morning, Mona and the Fur Crew. Margie says, hey, Dan, did I see you yesterday? Kathleen's never lonely. I have me. myself, and I for company. And yes, we talk amongst ourselves. There you go. Always a group chat. Oh, yeah. I think that's what Dave. I think that's what Blue Van Dan does. I think he names the voices in his head, right, Dan? Dan says, if you saw the van, then you saw me. There you go. Never too far from the van, huh, Dan? I've always admitted I prefer company, but I don't want to sleep with them, and I have a certain standard of living I'm not willing to lower in order to take care of someone else. I do get lonely, yeah. And I think that's true with some of the nomads. They have that certain standard that they're not willing to compromise. They're not willing to change their, say, travel schedule or their lifestyle in order to accommodate another person. So I think that plays into it too with some of these folks. They're kind of set in their ways and how they travel and how they do things. And good morning, Miss Molly McGregor. Sorry, got to run. That's okay, Romy. I hope to see you this evening. I converse with my cats. They give good advice. Three Sheets says, great subject. I like hanging with people, but want to be able to get away on a dime. There you go. Mona says, if I'm alone, that's okay. And when I'm with friends, that's wonderful. I like being by myself sometimes. It gives me a chance to clear my head. And that's true as well. That's true as well. Yeah, even me, I'm still here and in the house, and sometimes you just want to get away, sit down, and like you said, Mona, just clear your head, turn the switch off. I mean, you ever get those times where you lay down at night, you can't fall asleep because your mind just doesn't shut off? These thoughts, what about this? What about that? What about that? You got to do this. Did you do this? Don't forget to do this tomorrow. Are you sure you did this today? You're supposed to do this. Well, what if this happens? And da-da-da-da-da. Every once in a while, I do get those nights where the thoughts just don't shut off. You just can't fall asleep. Kathleen says, I watched Nomadland last night. Didn't find it depressing or lonely. Good movie. Okay. Yeah, I found it a pretty good movie. It was decent. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. Not sorry I took the time to watch it. It was okay. I'm not going to rush over and watch it again. But yeah, it was worth a watch. And again, I got different things out of it than other people did, but I think that was the purpose of the movie. And I also think that if I was, I'm not a nomad, but if I wasn't following nomads and watching RVers and nomads and van dwellers and so on YouTube, I think I would have a totally different outlook and perspective on that movie altogether. So yeah. Never met a woman on the road who didn't claim to be strong, independent, and empowered as they tried to get me to do manual labor for them, give them money, resources, and be an emotional tampon. Sir MGTOW. And you know what? I'm going to say that I'm sure that all women aren't like that, but I am going to say that I can probably see how that would happen. And I will say, this is how I will agree with, and I'm not MGTOW at all, but this is how I'm going to agree with Sir MGTOW, by saying that the woman's RTR is the prime example of that. And this is what I mean. No men allowed. And they got their little guards out there. None shall pass. You're a man. You get out. You drop her off here, and we will walk her in. None shall pass. No men, no men. But if one of those females gets stuck somewhere, what do? Hey guys, can you come over here and help us? And yes, it's happened. It's on video. It's recorded. So none of them can say, no, we don't do that. Yes, you do. No men. This is a women-only zone. No men allowed. Oh, this happened. This got stuck. We dropped this. We can't pick this up. Come on, guys. Come on over here and help us. Now get the hell away. And yeah, and that's true. I can see that happening. I really can. And I can see some females out there. And I could actually name one or two right off the top of my head. But yeah, I can see some of those out there, you know. Like Sir MGTOW said that, claim to be, I'm strong, I'm independent, I don't need anybody, but yeah, bat their eyelashes and shake their butt a little bit and say, can you come help me do this? This is yeah, I can see that happening. But I guess you use what you got. Butterbean said, I've been mopping and listening back now. I missed a spot under my table yesterday. Great way to be with people you like your channel. Glad you go live so often now. Keep it up, buddy. Oh, well, thank you. How many men on the road ask women to cook or do laundry? Ha ha! Good call, Butterbean. Good call. Good comeback. There's Mr. Ron. Well, it's Thursday, so I guess I will start drinking now and be primed for tonight. Let's see. I'm going to reply to Butterbean what she said if I remember. I'm going to jump to her, Margie. What is the difference between being single in an apartment or RV? How is the loneliness different in your opinion? That's a good question. I don't think it's really that much different. I do think, however, well, I guess it would be just as easy depending on, now, if you're in an apartment or whatever, an apartment setting or in a house, I guess you have that apartment setting. You have that community, and it's easier just to bounce around and go. And usually, if you are in the sticks and bricks or in a home or an apartment setting, you're usually, not always, but usually near family, so you can actually go to family. And not saying that being in an RV, you don't have that community, because you do. And that's why I said about, it's somewhat easier when you're nomadic to quelch that that loneliness. Now, if you're roaming around, I don't know, say here in the Northeast, you're probably going to be alone and lonely. And if you're lonely, you're going to be alone. But if you're out west and you're roaming around and you're by yourself, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel that lonely kick in, you can go, well, let's go to Quartzsite. Let's go to the Skadden Wash. Let's go here. Let's go and find somebody and slide into, like I said, one of those groups, one of those tribes, and hang out. Watch a video, find out where Aja is, and go go to a dance party or something. But No, it's not. It's not that much different. It's just I just think about these when I watch these the tubers, because you have some people that have that opinion of the nomads that they're all homeless, jobless, worthless pieces of crap. And not saying that there aren't some, because there are, and they make YouTube videos to prove that they are. But it's just like here, in I guess the cities, the sticks and bricks community. Yeah, there's a bunch of worthless assholes. But, and the other thing too is, just in life, not even being the lonely thing, is that when you're in your community, you usually know things. You know where the bad neighborhood is. You know where the asshole lives. You know where the good people are. You know where your fire department is. You know where the doctor is. You know where the hospital is. You know where the grocery store is. You know where everything is. You know just about everything. You know if it snows, this is going to happen. But when you're traveling and you're by yourself and you hear a noise, you don't know what that noise is. If I hear a noise, I know, it's the train, it's that, it's this, it's that. That makes noise. Now, if I hear odd noise, I know. But when you're out on the road and you're in some place and during the day, in the light of day, you got the nice park and it's this and that, and all of a sudden, as soon as the sun goes down, you start hearing wrestling around and squeaks and screaming, and maybe even gunshots. Who knows? You don't know where you're at, what you're doing, unless it's a place you've been before. But you're out there and if you're alone, even if you aren't lonely, that unknown can even get to you and get in your head even more. And not saying that a lot of the nomads, because they don't, they go the same four places. And that's why I said a long time ago that, watching and covering all these nomads, I don't have to even watch them anymore. I can tell you what month is it? Oh, well, they're here. And when they're done, they're going here, they're going to go there. Then they're going to go there. And then they're going to go to Washington. And then this group is not going to go to Washington. They're going to go there. And then this month, they're all going to meet back here. And that's all they do. Boom, 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 boom. I watched them for 4 years, and that's exactly what they do. Boom, 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 boom. I know their migration pattern. They don't go anywhere different. They don't go anywhere new. They don't hang out with anybody new. Well, Aja does now, because as soon as she got some money, people stuck to her like she was a magnet. Because some folks, like those females that you do, like you're talking about earlier, that I'm strong, I'm independent, I'm going to drive across, I've got my RV, and I'm going to drive, and I can do whatever I want to. And then as soon as something happens, they bat their eyes or they cry and they get on YouTube. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh. And then somebody will run to their aid, and then they'll rush and they'll find Aja and them other people, and they'll be in the background for a little bit so they can be seen on somebody else's channel. And then they'll slide on in there and they'll go, I don't have 2 nickels to rub together, but look at her. She just bought a new RV and a trailer and a side-by-side, and she's bought property, and she's got this, and she's doing dance parties, and she got this big container out there that she sets up. Let me slide on in here, suck up and get some free stuff. Maybe somebody will feed my tired ass. And I can get some exposure for my awesome YouTube channel, so maybe I can get some AdSense and actually support myself for 5 minutes. So yeah, there are those people too. But here I go. I'm going all over the place. I ignored the chat, and I'm sure people are just rambling on, yelling at me. But I guess the short answer for Margie is there really isn't a big difference I don't think. Just a little bit. There are a little bit of differences here and there, but they're minute. But it's pretty much the same. Yeah. If you're lonely or alone and lonely, you're alone and lonely. And again, it may be easier for a nomad to go, okay, I'm starting to get lonely. Let me go find some folks because they're always moving anyway. Whereas if you are in a sticks and bricks, I mean, you can always find a neighbor, family, friends, maybe probably easier or quicker, let's say. But yeah, in a house, in an RV, it doesn't matter if you're, I did speak about that a little bit earlier. When you're, say you're in a couple situation and you lose a spouse dies or something, and there you are, like, so, yeah, we thought when the kids left, the house got too big and we didn't need this big space, but we kept it. And now that he or she died, yeah, I definitely don't want to be left in this big house alone, fumbling around through this giant house, empty and with all the memories and stuff. So yeah, it can be taxing no matter who you are or where you live. All right. I wonder how long Aja saved and lived frugally to get that stuff. I think selling the house was a big part of it. Got her on the move, but yeah. And I don't know her, but I don't think she's a stupid person either, so. Sir Big Tail said something about men being weak, mostly raised by single mothers, devoid of their father's teachings. Well, yeah, that's true, but that's pretty much the norm anymore. That's another topic I really want to talk about too someday. But I was raised by a single mother. Thankfully, though, at around the age 10, I was adopted by my grandparents, so I did have my grandfather. But yeah, that's a whole other subject for sure. Alone is a state of being. Lonely is a state of mind. Very true. Very, very true. I just sold her house, which gave her some extra income. Yes, exactly, Mona. Arthur in Oregon. Hello, hello, hello. B squared. What's up? Todd retracted. Fatima. I seem to have mommy tattooed on my forehead. Everyone and their cousin seeks me out to tell me their problems. Yeah. Yeah, I think we all have that that person, that friend, that, yeah. I know they'll listen and at least act like they're listening and nod their head while I get this off my chest. Oh man, that is maybe V. The house is big and kids said, do it, Mom. So selling it and hitting the road. I don't like to be alone, so we'll find like-minded people. Well, there you go. Oh, there you go. There's another thing, another tick for the RVers and the nomad life. RV Quilt Quest said, yeah. Here I am in the big empty house, alone and lonely, so let me hit the road and find people like me. And there's another way to look at it. Being a nomad and being lonely, it might be not the issue, it might be the answer. That's pretty awesome. What happened to nomad groups Bob Wells put together to travel around? Randy and Brian led groups last year, says Todd. I don't know, because I watch Bob Wells every once in a while when people start chattering about shit that he's doing. I can't really watch him all the time because I get sucked in. Watching his videos is, I don't know, it's kind of like Chinese water torture to me sometimes. Another good point, single by choice, because when you realize you are more alone while with your partner than when you're actually alone. Yeah, it happens. It does happen, Molly, for sure. I don't know how many men seem to not believe that I don't get scared out of by myself, or that I know what I'm doing when working on my vehicle, etc. It's kind of silly. I'm capable. Yeah, B squared. Yeah. Hey, I know plenty of women. Well, actually, I took auto mechanics actual class for 3 years, and there were three girls in there, and they were good. They knew what they were doing. Um, they weren't quite as strong as some of the guys, but that didn't help them. They used their brain. They'd put extensions and use leverage and stuff. They couldn't bust that nut loose or something, but lifting stuff they couldn't do. But yeah, they the girls were capable, but more often than not. And maybe maybe the nomad life does tend to I guess we'll say attract the more stronger independent women. But yeah, I'm sure there's women out there that just cling to a group because they need somebody to do something. Let me go back up here, see what James said. Many of these nomads are carrying so much baggage, i.e. alcohol and or drug addiction, no money because they just want to party 24/7, and many other mental disorders. That is why they are single. Now, you know what? I'm not going to disagree with that either. Let's see. Never again said. Let me try to catch up here and read all kinds of stuff. When I get lonely, I just remember that my first marriage. Just think of a few good times. Okay. B squared, do you have a right of your own opinion? But mine is based on fact. Also, divorce rate many of them as well. There's a lot of nomads by choice, but also some of them have hard life slapped them hard. Might be a small percentage of them that do so to party, etc. James, again, not isolated to the nomad community, dude. That's true too. Where do you get your facts? Life slapped hard usually owns their own demise. None of my single female friends over the age of 50 ever want to remarry. I want to see mental disorder go to Quartzsite and that Slab City. I think Jamie Roxer watched a few YouTube videos and made a huge and ignorant judgment. Todd, because during COVID times, they aren't supposed to be in large groups, so no caravans organized. Oh. There, Margie answered that question about Bob groups because of the no large group. I guess that's what. Yeah, that's right. The RTR had virtual seminars this year due to the COVID. Thanks, Margie. I had an RVer that I followed. She had good content and a cute dog. I don't agree with her politics, but that wasn't what I watched her for. So many people that have never had hard times, so they judge others. Her response to the death of someone, I think her be kind stuff is a bunch of trash. Well, let me address what Rockford and everybody are kind of back and forth about. And I appreciate everyone's differing of opinions, and that's fine as long as everybody keeps it cool. Don't get out of hand. But yeah, you can disagree and go back and forth. That's what we're here for. Anyway, in my opinion. But yeah, just be kind to each other. You can disagree without being shitty and screaming. But anyway, here's what I'll say on the subject. Yes, there are. I won't even fathom a guess of a percentage, but there are some, I'm sure, and it's obvious too if you see them in a video, or they make videos of their own, or they're captioning other people's videos, or their stories are told by others, that yeah, they're out there because they're running from something. And that's what I talked about when I talked about the Nomad Land, the movie. It doesn't matter what you're driving, how fast you're driving, where you drive it to, you're not going to escape life. It's always going to be there with you. All the problems, all the headaches, all the worries, all the everything. So if you're having issues with your son, your daughter, or whatever, and you're trying to get away, jumping in a van or an RV and driving to the middle of the desert, not going to get away from it. If you have an addiction to whatever, driving to the desert or anywhere else, you're not going to escape it. I don't care how fast you drive or who you sit with. It's not going to take care of it. And yes, some people live in their car or van, not even an RV, a car or a van, because they did lose their house and everything, because they made bad choices, poor choices, lost all their money, lost their job, or quit their job, or couldn't keep their job because of their addictions or choices. So yes, there are people that are out there like that. Now, are there what they call the functioning alcoholics or the functioning addicts? Yes, there are. So there are people that live right next to you or across the street from you, or that you work with, that work in the next cubicle down, that are the functional addict, that have their issues. I mean, let's just think about the prescription drugs that are handed out to people every day by doctors and hospitals, that get people addicted to, that are legal. They can go out and buy them. Not a problem. They can carry them in their purse. They can hand somebody, a pharmacist, money and get them over the counter. They don't have to go into the dark alleys and sneak around and buy their little bag of whatever. They can walk right into a store and hand a man in a little white coat money and get their little bottle of happiness and walk around and do horrible shit and make disgusting choices and do bad things. And again, live next door to you or work in that cubicle right next to you. Other people are just a little bit more not able to handle things. And they get to that point where, hey, I'm living in my car, I'm living in my van. The next step is, I don't even have a car or a van. So now it's the box or the tent or the little blue tarp. So find someplace warm, California, Arizona, Nevada, and set up house, set up camp. So yeah, I'm sure there's enough of the folks out there that are out there because. And that's not to take away from or detract from the fact that there are a lot of people out there doing it because they want to, especially the retired age folks who, again, I say it a million times, I talk about it all the time, put in their time, paid their dues, got their kids grown out and taught and did everything, paid their mortgage, went to work, and it's time to do whatever they want to. And that's what they choose to do. So they're out there doing it. My hat's off to them, more power to them. And again, it's the ones that are 20s and 30s and early 40s that are totally capable and able-bodied, that are just like, I don't want to work. Working's for suckers. Why buy property? You don't own it anyway. Blah, 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 blah. Any excuse just to say, I don't want to be a part of society. I just want to get in my little RV and I want to come out here and do nothing all day. I have the freedom. They got their little camera and they're making YouTube videos and they're telling us, I have the freedom. I can go do whatever I want to, whenever I want to. But what do? Nothing. They don't do nothing. I'm a nomad. I have a travel channel. Well, where have you traveled to? Here. And I've been here for 3 months, sitting here in this lump of sand with these 4 people doing absolutely nothing. Why? Because that's how much money you have. You have enough money to do nothing. Because that's what you are. Not a whole lot. You ain't out there running around, traveling, doing this and that because you're free. You're living the good, free, cheap, and easy life. You're out there sitting still because you don't have anything and you can't go anywhere because you got nothing. But you're preaching the free, cheap, and easy good life. Meanwhile, you can click over and watch another channel of a whole family. Mom, dad, the kid, the dog. They're in a big old pick-em-up truck or a big Suburban or something, and they're dragging a big old thing, and they're going to Alaska, or they're going here, and they're going there, and they're taking an airplane ride past this, and they're doing this, and they're going through a tour for this, and they're doing that, and then we're going here, and hey, we boondock for a while. We need some time to charge our batteries, and I feel like taking a shower for a while, so let's go over here. So they try to find a place, and they book a place, and they go in and they hang out. Even if they got to spend $100 a damn night, they pull in and hook up. And they're talking about the free, cheap, and easy life, but it ain't cheap. It is hardly easy, but it's fun. And they're working, and they need Wi-Fi because they got to have that money so they can go do all these things. Meanwhile, the other ones are just sitting there going, "That's my travel channel. I'm doing nothing because you haven't given me any money lately, so I can't do nothing." And again, it's like I always say, it's just like any other community. Whether you live in a sticks and bricks in a city, or whether you're a nomad in your little community, you have all kinds. You got poor white trash like me who live in a 100-year-old house, half a double attached to another house, and a neighbor right over there in a mixed neighborhood, just doing it, just barely making it. And then you got other folks up the road that live in their $500,000 home, and you got the same out there on the road. You got the people driving around their $250,000 RVs, and you got somebody out there driving around and living in their $250 van, and all the points in between. The only thing difference is when we get a little bit behind and money's low, we can't move our house and just move it down the street and park it in front of somebody else's house along the curb, where a van dweller can just go, I don't want to be here anymore. I'll go over here, pull along the street, park in front of this $1 million house and have an ocean view, let my dog run, and I'll empty my piss bottle here, and I'll move down the block tomorrow. Now we're kind of stuck. And when I'm traveling from place to place, I don't have to look up and go, oh, no overnight parking in the Walmart tonight. Now what am I going to do? Or when I pull down alongside of the street and it says, no overnight parking, I don't have to worry about that. But then there's the other folks that they're out in the desert, or they're up in the mountains, or they're in the back country. They don't have to worry about none of those signs. Cool question. I would give up the money I get from my husband's death to have him back. Yeah. I've given up trying to be successful. Government takes too much. Yeah, the government does take a lot, don't they? Let's see. I like to turn a light on that shit in the bucket. Yeah. I mean, I always say I couldn't live in a van. RV, live. I could live for a couple months at a time, but I don't think I could be out there constantly. I would be too nervous. I mean, not that shit don't break down in the house, but yeah, I'd be always be worried about, you know, either the engine conking out or something going. I'd always be worried about something, especially these RVs. They're not built to live in full time. They're not built to drive 24/7, 365. They're built for just what their name is, a recreational vehicle. Supposed to take it out on the weekends and a couple a couple weeks during the month. That's what it's made for. They're not built the greatest. I mean, they're built for what they are, but you know. Why are you talking about the medical bills were over $200K? I only had 4 children, a dog, and 2 cats who came with me everywhere I went. I dated, but I never found the right person this day in my life. With 3 sons, I had my brother and dad for them. Coca says it is difficult. The heart can truly love forever. Yeah, there's other folks on here that I know that has lost their significant other, their spouse, and it's rough. It's rough on them, men and women. There's some guys on here that I know that, yeah, they're still taking it pretty hard. Another thoughtful, diverse, and interesting discussion, BB. Yeah, I mean, and again, everyone's not going to all get along and all think the same. That's not the point here. It's have an open discussion, and hopefully, I can't keep up, and I haven't been reading everything, but hopefully everyone's being civil. And I know I do have my mods in here, so if they see anybody getting out of hand, they can give them a thump. But yeah, we're not going to all agree all the time. And I hope everybody knows, especially a lot of my nomad friends on here, I hope they don't think that I'm coming down on the nomad community. It's just the fact that I talk about the nomads a lot, and like when Margie says, well, what's the difference between, being in a house and being alone and lonely, or being it's it's not that I'm saying there's a big difference. It's the fact that I live in a sticks and bricks, and I know what that's like. I'm not a nomad, an RVer, but I watch them all the time on YouTube, and I talk to you guys that are here on YouTube. So there's just things that I'm curious about that I don't know, but that I have a little opinion of. And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I don't mind. Now there are, like I said, and I guess the main thing is my view is narrowed, no pun intended, but my view is narrowed because of some of the channels that I watch. So I don't have the entire broad spectrum of the community, like being out there in it with them and seeing it. All I know is what people put in front of me on YouTube. So if they mislead me through their videos, then I'm going to be misled. If they, and it's my choice of who I pick. I mean, I don't watch everybody, but I do watch people like Enjoy the Journey.life. I do watch Less Junk, More Journey. I watch, people like them. And then I do watch the other ones, we'll say the the RV Joeys, the Butterfly Gypsies, the people like that. So I kind of got that, but there's that broad spectrum in the middle that I don't know that much about. And I watched like Margie and Jeff, the couples, and so, and then I watch, somebody mentioned about Robin, and she's not a good example of one of the, and she's a single female out there traveling by herself, but she's on the higher end. She's not the one, I mean, she works, she still does this and that, and she's not one that, just plunks down and says, I can't go anywhere, or I don't want, or has to be in that group. So I do see a little bit of variance, but I don't have the wide spectrum. So when I ask these questions or have these topics, it's just little things that I think about. And again, it's not that I'm, down. I'm just curious because, again, I live in the sticks and bricks. It says I live in a house and I'm blind, so I know about living in a house and being blind. Let's see. Where we at? Just when I dated, but didn't find that either. Yeah. Okay. Guess how life experience differ, but I was raised rough and tumble. So I was always looking for opportunity to grasp to increase my coffers. How do you date with kids? I just can't do it. Seems like it would be a lot of drama and juggling. Yeah, that can be rough. Everyone lives nomadic life differently. We hardly ever boondocked when we traveled, and I always tell folks traveling is expensive. Yeah, it is expensive. Yeah, you see people on, I see people on the YouTubes on their videos telling us one thing, but showing us another thing quite often. You know, saying how cheap it is, and they'll even, and sometimes during the year these are our expenses for the year, and we only did this, spent it, and then you see them out there, and they're, filling up their gas tank and showing us that it cost $100 and some to fill up that big old tank, and they're in there eating, and they're going out to eat all the time, and it's it's $80 for two of us or three of us, and this and that. Oh, and it costs $60 a night to stay here, and you're like in your head going, no. Your numbers at the end of the year didn't add up to what we just saw the last couple of videos, But yeah, and how can it be cheap to travel in a big old Class A or in a big diesel truck dragging a house behind it when it's not cheap to travel in a car, just to drive, and travel and stay in a hotel? So yeah, I mean, you can say some stuff, but you show us other stuff, and some channels are more honest than others, which is interesting and fun. Let's see. Captain Griffiths has 2 lake lots in different states. Love it. Go when I want to. Yeah, there you go. RVers and April always make beautiful, positive videos with beautiful scenery. And I've said it many times, they're one of my favorite channels, and they truly are. I think she doesn't like me because I pay women to leave after sex instead of paying them to stay. Hey, to each his own, I guess. Everybody does their own thing. Also have a home. Wait till you get ready. Really sick. Yeah. Shamrock Girl joining the party late. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I got to get off here soon. Yeah, I've been on here for an hour. Oh, that's interesting. Margie says we figure $100 in gas on a travel day. Yeah. Well, I mean, when we go from here to down to Florida to visit people or hang out or just vacation, it isn't cheap, and that's just in a car with 2 people and some luggage. I could imagine what it would be to pay for that trip from here to Florida, again in a big Class A or even a Class C, or in a big truck pulling a house. So yeah, that's why when I see some of these folks, they got to have money. They're working somehow. You're doing something because, they're not just traveling like that and spending that gas money, but they're staying in an RV park. They're not they're not pulling up and boondocking. They're spending more money every night to stay in a park to hook up, and plus they are working. So most of them have AT&T, Sprint, Verizon. They have every carrier on the planet. And that costs a lot of money just so they can stay connected, so they can keep working remotely, which is another big thing. So, yeah, I don't see how it's much cheaper. Yeah, you don't have a mortgage, but, you know, you do have a fuel bill. And a lot of people do say that. They say that they consider their travel expense, their travel day, like Margie said, that they just swap out a fuel bill for a mortgage. Because if they are traveling, that is the biggest expense. So I guess what it all comes down to is it's a personal preference, and you're exchanging one thing for another, and you're really not getting ahead as far as money and everything. And the other thing I think is kind of funny, which I'm going to talk about in another video, not this one, but how some of the nomads, van dwellers, and RVers say about being a minimalist. They preach the minimalist lifestyle. Just because they live in a small space, they claim to be minimalists. Yet, they have every single gizmo, gadget, little whiz-bang thing, electronic gizmo, drones, cameras, things that do this, hoses that do that, little guy. They have every gadget known to man, but they're a minimalist because their little RV is packed to the gills. If they put a feather in there, it's going to be overweight, but yet they claim to be minimalists. And we will be talking about that another time. I don't want to get into it. All right, I see the chat is still going. Hello, Pippa, my Princess Pippa Worm. It's good to see you. I hope everyone has been good and played nice in the chat. I hope you had a good little back and forth. I'll have to go through here and do the replay so I can see what everybody was saying. But for now, I got to wrap this up and get on out of here. I've been on here way too long as it is, longer than I planned on being here this morning, because I will be back. You know I will be, because it's Thursday. So at 7 p.m. Eastern time this evening, I'll be back. So I can't be on here all damn day. I guess I could, but I got things to do. All right. Let's see. How are we going to end this one? Well, I think we'll end it with what never again, I think, was said. Being alone is a state of being. Being lonely is a state of mind. So there you go. Take it as you will. You can be all by yourself in a big room or in a big open field and not be lonely. You can be in a group of 4, 5, 10 people and still be lonely. Kind of interesting. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Single nomads. Are they lonely? Or just alone? Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the open conversation. This is BlindViews. That's the way I see it.
What we do here is go back.